Hello everybody and welcome to Forever Cricket on Forever Sports for what was a massive day in the first test between South Africa and Pakistan, with South Africa starting very poorly in the beginning in the first session, with the Pakistan tail really starting wagging and contributing too many runs for South Africa before a momentous partnership by Aiden Markram and Rassie van der Dussen, which really put South Africa back in the game before a horrible last half an hour where it all sort of fell apart. So a really, really interesting day where it really did sort of ebb and flow, with South Africa starting poorly, building it back, and then ending poorly. But before we look at the entire day in its entirety, please do subscribe to the channel, bottom right-hand corner. Smash a like on the video as well. Right, so if we look at the day's play, I think the most frustrating thing for me is the fact that we conceded, almost 70 runs from the tail. And South Africa just didn't do enough, to just lodge. I mean, you can't allow Hassan Ali to score 21, Nouman Ali to score 24, and Yasir Shah to score 38. To strike another 102, to go completely after us. It's unacceptable. We were in a very interesting position. They had a lead about 60 last night, and had we knocked them over for about 30, 40 runs this morning, a lead of 90 is very different to a lead of 160. And that was the issue. We conceded about 60 to 70 runs too many in terms of the tail. And the entire game would be in a completely different situation if that was the case, because South Africa got off to a very slow start. But I think the biggest positive for me is that today South Africa played test match cricket. We haven't seen innings like Rassie van der Dussen and Aiden Markram's in a very long time. I think that is the most important innings I have ever seen from Aiden Markram. That is the best I've ever seen him play. And it's not the most he's ever scored. It wasn't free-flowing. But he knuckled down and he scored 74 of 224 balls. Today it could be a watershed moment. This could be Aiden Markram as a test opener. It's defining innings. Because today he played like an opening batsman. There have been calls, including me, saying if he's going to play the way he does, if he's going to be that aggressive, if he wants his strike rate to be sitting 60, 70, he cannot open the batting because he gets to 30 and then throws his wicket away. And South Africa can't be 50-1 every single test. But if he can do what he did today and just graft and put South Africa in a good position, to stay up there for over 300 minutes and to graft it in is exactly what you're supposed to do as an opener. And what he also did is he earned the right to play a shot. Because he stuck in, because he really grinded out the innings, as it went on, he could then accelerate a little bit and started getting to the pitch of the ball and finding the boundary. But, there was a 100-ball period between him and Rassie van der Dussen. Dean Algo went out on 29 of 45. Probably playing a shot he wouldn't have played if he hadn't been hit in the hand. The good news is he has had an X-ray and there is not fractured, and therefore it looks good that he will hopefully play in the second test, although it's unlikely we'll see him in the field. But then Rassie van der Dussen and Aiden Markram played a superb partnership between the two of them, where they took South Africa to 175 runs into the lead. And that was huge. That really put South Africa not only into the driving seat, but it had them right back into the test match. We had a lead, and they could have got us to the end of play, and we sat there with a 30-run lead, 9 wickets in hand, going into day 4. Suddenly, the draw is on hand, and suddenly you can actually go and get into the test match. But to lose 3 wickets in the last half an hour, it was ludicrous. You cannot afford to do that. After doing all the hard yards, we just had to survive 8 more overs. And Rassie van der Dussen, it was a great catch. I mean, it's one of those things. It's so difficult to really criticize him. You could think that maybe he was overstretching, overreaching, and that's why the ball was sort of popping up. But I mean, he was caught about maybe half to 1 meter, sort of the ball about this much off the ground. So after the innings he played, I mean, he got us back into the test, him and Markram. And Markram also got a very good ball. But I'm very disappointed in Faf du Plessis, who Yasir Shah seems to have his number at the moment. I mean, he survived an LBW appeal. There was then an outside edge which went down to the boundary, and then he went back to a ball he shouldn't have gone and was caught straight in front of the wickets. And suddenly, going from a position where South Africa could have, put themselves into the game and really sort of assert their authority tomorrow and gone on to try and score an extra 100, 150, 200 runs, go and get a lead of 250 and go and say, right, Pakistan, you've seen what this pitch is doing. It's not easy to score runs. Go and try and chase down 250. Go and try and last the entire day. We could have done that. And now it's going to come down to Quinton de Kock and Keshav Maharaj. Because at the end of the day, it's not an easy pitch to bat on. It's not at all. There's a reason that our run rate this innings has been 2.49. And that was been accelerated. At one stage, it was close to 2. because it is difficult to bat, and the spinners are very difficult to play, which means that we know that Keshav Maharaj and George Linder are going to be hugely important in that final innings. But we have to give ourselves a platform, and I think this is going to be a defining innings for Quinton de Kock. If he wants to bat 5, if we are going to persist with him up the order, part of being he is still sort of middle order. He is very much middle order, but part of being able to play at number 5 as opposed to number 7 is you need to be able to play and grind out an innings. We need Quinton de Kock to try and bat up the entire day tomorrow. You know, Maharaj needs to survive as long as possible. De Kock needs to survive, and then Temba Bavuma and George Linder, they've got huge roles to play. We need to be batting tomorrow until latest sort of the last half an hour, because at the moment we're sitting on a 29 run lead. That is not enough. We need to put on at least another sort of 180, 190 runs to give us a slight chance. Even then, you know, it could still be very achievable for Pakistan. It all depends on how well they play our spinners. But you've got to try and get them a total of 250 to try and chase down on a very difficult pitch. You know, 150 is not going to be enough unless we bowl superbly well. But I think given the fact that that is difficult to score, I think it is one of those test matches where whatever runs you can give will put pressure on Pakistan. And the more that South Africa struggle, the more they will be in the back of the Pakistan batsmen that they have to come and bat on this pitch as well. And I mean, you look at that last half an hour and how difficult it was to survive. You know, if our spinners really pitch up, it could be equally as difficult for Pakistan, although they do play spin a lot better. So, look, it's not a knife edge. Is it on a knife edge? I think right now you'll say Pakistan are probably on top because, you know, with forward down, South Africa basically have 4 batsmen left. In fact, they've probably got 3 batsmen left. They've got Quinton de Kock, they've got Temba Bavuma, and they've got George Linder. I mean, Maharaj, I don't really rate as a batsman. He's handy with the bat, but I wouldn't go as far as saying he's an all-rounder. And then Rabada, Nokia, and Ngidi, a bit of a non-starter. I mean, Rabada, we can see he can play some shots, and maybe he can contribute again towards the end. But, you know, you can never rely on them to do a job every single week and every single test match. So the big thing is tomorrow is we got to take this session by session. De Kock and Maharaj need to get us to lunch. If Maharaj falls, Temba Bavuma and Quinton de Kock need to try and bat the day out tomorrow. If we can still be batting by the end of tomorrow, that means day 4, you go and bat for the first session, and then you go, right, let's have 2 sessions to try and bowl them out. And if you don't bowl them out, whatever. But take a draw. You know, a draw would be a fantastic result. Pakistan don't lose at this venue. They've only lost twice in the history of the game. Take the game as far as possible, you know, into a position where it's a draw or win situation, where Pakistan will come out looking for the draw. That's the situation we've got to try and get ourselves into. But that requires a really gutsy performance by Quinton de Kock, by Keshav Maharaj, by George Linder, and by Temba Bavuma. It is so important that they do tomorrow. If we lose a couple of early wickets tomorrow, that could be a test that's dead and buried. So it is a huge test of character, not talent, character, as it comes down to the last 2 days. But what a test match it is turning to be. It really is ebbing and flowing like a test match should. And we are seeing a great advert for what the game is all about. We saw it with Australia and India. Now we're seeing it with Pakistan and South Africa. So it's very good cricket to watch. Especially from a neutral's point, how you saw 2 South Africans really dig deep, but Pakistan just kept plugging it away, and suddenly they got themselves back into the game. So it's a very nice watch, and it's a very well-balanced test match, but now it comes down to can South Africa, can this middle to lower order get themselves a platform to try and go after Pakistan? Let me know what you think is going to happen in the game down in the comments below. Smash a like on the video. Do subscribe to the channel, turn on your notifications. My name is Stephen, and I'll chat to you very soon.